We got a great guest for you guys. He's in studio. Tarek El-Messidi joins us now. He's done a great number of programs where he brings different religions together and works towards peace and understanding, et cetera. Tarek, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so you've done a lot and you've got a new project, but I'm going to jump around a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
First, after the shootings in Pittsburgh at the synagogue, where 11 people died, what did you do about that?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I direct a nonprofit called Celebrate Mercy. It's a Muslim-led nonprofit organization. And right after we saw, the news about the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting, we organized, actually co-organized a crowdfunding campaign asking Muslim Americans to raise funds for the victims and their families. There were 11 people killed, others that were injured, many people impacted, but I really felt like, our organization aims to live the faith of the Prophet Muhammad, the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And I felt like what better way to do that than to love for humanity what you love for yourself. There's really a key story that inspired it, which is there was a story of when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, stood up when he saw a Jewish funeral procession passing by him. And when he saw that funeral procession, he stood up and his disciples around him said, "Why are you standing? It's not a Muslim. So why are you standing up? It's a Jew." His response was so beautiful. He said, "Is it not a human soul?" So when we saw the cemeteries that were desecrated a couple of years ago, and also the synagogue shooting, we felt like, are these not human souls? And we're also Abrahamic cousins as well, Jews and Muslims. And we both are kind of, feeling the brunt of hate right now, especially after the Trump election. So we reached out, we raised over $200,000 for the victims.
It's warmed my heart to see the different races, ethnicities, religions getting together in the Trump era and fighting back against the fear, the hatred, et cetera, that are being spread. Anti-Defamation League has done a wonderful job of backing Muslim Americans in their time of need, as well as they're the subject of a lot of propaganda in America, and pointing out that that trouble that's brewing for all of us.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of people might not know this, and that's why I like the work that your group is doing. Turks and Jews go back a long time. The Ottoman Empire saved the Jews from the Spanish Inquisition and sent the entire Ottoman fleet to pick up Jews from Spain and bring them back to the Ottoman Empire.
Right.
And
pre-1947, Muslims and Jews actually had a much better relationship historically than even Muslims and Christians, like you said. And one of the cemeteries that we actually repaired in Denver, Colorado, a Jewish cemetery, actually had many Turkish Jews buried in it from the early 1900s.
You guys raised over 200 for the synagogue, 200,000 for the synagogue?
Well, the goal was actually started off as 25,000, so we almost reached 10 times the goal, and we stopped raising the goal at about 150. So we said beyond 150,000, we're going to use the remainder towards projects that foster more interfaith dialogue and collaboration between Jews and Muslims. So about 80,000 is going to go towards those kind of projects, and 150,000 has already gone to the victims' families.
No, that's wonderful. And how about the cemetery? How much money did you guys raise?
We raised over 160,000. The initial goal was 20,000. We hit that in 3 hours, and it just went viral very quickly. J.K. Rowling tweeted it on day 2. She actually crashed the crowdfunding page for 3 hours. Ellen DeGeneres, it went nuts. But it just showed, actually, it began with mostly Muslim donors, but as it progressed, I could notice from the names that at least half of the donors were actually Jewish. So it became, even though it was like a Muslim-led campaign, it was like the people that were giving were very diverse.
Yeah, well, that's the best of America. That's what I love.
That is the best of America.
Right. So now you've done a number of these, so I'm gonna go all the way back to Fast-a-Thon. What was Fast-a-Thon?
I was an undergraduate student at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. In Ramadan, we asked non-Muslim college students to try fasting for a day in Ramadan. And for every person that pledged to fast, local businesses would donate like $2 towards a local food pantry. So the slogan was go hungry for a day so someone else won't have to. We started it, we had like 100 people that fasted. This was 2 months after 9/11, November 2001. Within 5 years, the Fast-a-Thon had spread to 300 college campuses, some of them getting like 2,000 fasters on the same day. And they all break fast together, interfaith gathering at sunset when Muslims generally break their fasting in Ramadan. So it's now even gone to Google. There are 14 Google headquarters around the world that host an annual Fast-a-Thon. So we estimate that it's raised about $2 million to feed hungry people around the world.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a lot of money raised for good stuff. Now, I don't know if I could do it again. So I'm agnostic now, but I grew up Muslim, so I used to fast.
Okay.
But I'm Turkish, so
you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, well, that was unlikely, but I hear you.
Okay.
I hear you. I was Turkish, so I only did it when I felt like it. So in the Muslim world, Turks are kind of Muslim.
It's very diverse. Yeah, the religiosity is very diverse in Turkey. Yes.
And but I remember it was hard, man. But my favorite part was breaking the fast.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you count down the minutes. They say that the time that Muslims remember the time to pray the most is in Ramadan when it's sunset prayer.
Yeah. And if you guys don't know, and of course a lot of people don't, because which is going to go into our next part of the story, is that Muslims have to fast for a month. You can eat when the sun sets, but especially when I was young, it was summertime. So sometimes the sun wouldn't set till like 8:45. You're like, oh my God, I'm
And Ramadan
dying.
these days is in the summer. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, Allah, why have you forsaken me? Anyway, so when you broke the fast when the sun set, everyone's like, give me the food. Okay, so now you're doing a program called Love Thy Muslim Neighbor.
Yes.
Okay, what is that?
So most of the campaigns that we've done at Celebrate Mercy have been in response to a crisis, trying to like respond to evil with good. This is actually a 5-year campaign. So recent studies have shown that about half of Americans do not know a Muslim personally. Those who know Muslims personally are like about half as likely to have anti-Muslim views. So if you know a Muslim, you're twice as likely to have more favorable views towards Islam and Muslims. The idea behind this campaign was inspired by a campaign in Norway, by the Anti-Racism Center. It's kind of the equivalent of their ACLU. They did a 2-year campaign asking non-Muslim Norwegians to visit a Muslim home and just have a cup of tea. And after 2 years, polls showed that Islamophobic sentiments before and after this campaign had dropped by 40% across Norway. So we were really inspired by that Tea Time campaign in Norway. And we want to take one pilot zip code in America, which heavily voted for Donald Trump, which very likely has anti-Muslim views, and engage about 50 to 100 Muslim families to engage in like random acts of kindness with their neighbors, hosting block parties or snubbling their driveway from snow randomly, and then polling before and after. Do views towards Muslims shift after 18 months in that one zip code?
So Tarek keeps flipping things on its head, right? So I'm a Muslim who's gonna go help other religions and raise money for them, etc. And now you've even flipped the idea of a tea party on its head.
Right. It's a chai party. We've turned it into a chai party.
That's right. And so, but the experience in Norway is amazing. That it reduced it by 40%. That's a stunning number.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like, so sometimes the right wing will get mad at me. They're like, "No, you don't understand. Muslims are uniquely dangerous, and you're trying to cover for them. And why won't you hate them like we do?
Right.
And now you're an atheist, and that's why you should know most of all." Blah, blah. Because I know a Muslim, like my mom. Right? They're real people, of course. They're people like anybody else.
They're a fifth of humanity.
Right.
Fifth of humanity, yeah.
Yeah, and so are you a little worried though that if you go to shovel someone's snow and you didn't tell them and they see a Muslim guy in the middle of, well, I was gonna say Alabama, but that's not likely to be a snowstorm there. But so are you concerned about that at all?
Yeah, I mean, we're factoring in things like security. We may have like security close by just in case something escalates. We also may partner people up when they randomly knock on a neighbor's door, maybe not to send someone alone. So we're factoring all those things in, and we want to be as safe as possible. But the key thing that we're also doing is a film about this. So we want to actually film kind of like a reality TV / like Michael Moore style film of what happens in that zip code. And then if it's successful there, we want to scale it to 3 places, 10 places, and then make it a nationwide campaign. And all of it, we're going to focus on inspiring Muslims to do this as part of what their faith teaches in the very beginning.
Yeah, so let's talk about the fundraising, because you need $1 million, right?
Right.
So that seems like a hard goal, except you're pretty good at raising money, and for a lot of good
We're good
causes.
at raising money, except for our own selves, you know.
Oh well, that's true, because the other money went to people who need it,
Right,
etc.
right.
And this is also really important because it's a project you're doing to spread understanding, right?
Right.
So, but you've already raised $400,000.
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
Well, it all started, luckily I was able to get a 30-minute meeting with the CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey. I had 30 minutes with him. I made a pitch, gave a presentation. He said he was so inspired by our work that he wanted to personally donate. So every day I'm checking the mailbox. I thought, what is Jack Dorsey going to give us? But he ended up donating the first $100,000.
Damn.
We had never gotten like a 6-digit donation to us before for our work, you know what I mean? So once he did that, we really upped the game. We tried to get more underwriters, associate producers. We've raised now, within a year, about $400,000. We need at least half of our goal to start filming and to launch the campaign. So if we can just get to 500 by this Ramadan in May, then we can start the campaign in the fall. And it would actually launch with a meeting with Jack Dorsey where all the major funders will meet him and we'll actually launch the campaign.
So when we do drives, we usually get it $10 at a time. So like when somebody says, oh, I'm gonna give money, I think like, okay, like if it's like a wealthy person, okay, I'll believe it when I see it, right?
Right.
But you walked away, see, he's got faith. Right.
Right. There was a lot of prayer. There was a lot of prayer for Jack Dorsey's check to be a big check.
And so when 100,000 came in, were you like, oh my God, God is real?
I mean, we are very grateful. Our whole team stopped, we prayed. I sent him some homemade baklava, as a gift. He was very generous, and we were shocked. But actually, what's amazing is that the 2 largest donors to our organization so far are actually Jack Dorsey, who comes from a Catholic upbringing, and a Jewish man who's also donated a large amount of money to us as well. So the largest 2 donors that we have are actually a Catholic and a Jew.
That's called America, baby. I love that.
It is.
All right, let's do some $10 at a time too. Where can people go to give money?
So they can go to our website, celebratemercy.com. They can click on the link that says campaigns and learn all about the Love Thy Muslim Neighbor campaign. That's what we're calling it, Love Thy Muslim Neighbor. They can even request to see a private trailer video, host a fundraiser, so celebratemercy.com.
Yeah, and last thing, by the way, you'll have the link down below if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. And so just click on it, really easy. Check it out, see it for yourself. Last thing is, look, this worked in other communities for gay Americans as well. And that's why coming out was so important, because people, if you don't know people in that community, it's easier to demonize them or have the wrong impressions or have other people demonize them, right?
Absolutely.
But once you get to know them, it almost always the same thing happens. Oh, they're just like me, right?
Right.
And so it is stunning that 6 out of 10 Americans don't know any Muslims, have not met any Muslims, don't know them. So if they do get to know them, they'll probably have conversations like this and walk away.
And our hope is through the campaign, through the film, that number 6 in 5 years can go down to 5.5. And we're really good at scaling campaigns across Muslim communities. That is our goal, for that number 6 people, 6 out of 10 who don't know Muslim personally, to go down to 5.5.
Yeah. So celebratemercy.com. Tarek, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. I'm really honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.